Eureka releases on Blu-ray Yuen Woo-ping's 1982 fantasy martial arts horror. I would say classic because this is so unique that I would have to call this a classic in my mind. The Miracle Fighters. This stars Leung Ka-yan, Yat-Chor, and Yuen Woo-ping himself as an old lady, and this was kind of mind-blowing. Now, if you're going to ask me to tell you what this movie's about, I'm going to have a difficult time recounting the plot because it is so just like bonkers and out of its mind. So I've actually had to do some reading about what this was about. And as much as I can try to reconcile what people tell me the movie's about versus what I remember, film opens and this guy is trying, this is like an old style, old-timey China, let's say, 1600 something, they say at some point in the film. Man is inside a building in China. He's trying to do something he's not supposed to do, and a guy shows up who's called the Man Bat or the Batman or the Bat Wizard or something. This kind of magical, weird, crazy-looking guy challenges him. He does some kind of a trick, and he disappears, and all that's left is an urn and with something written on it. And then out of the urn pops a head, arms, and legs it's all made up like a Cupid doll almost, or a powdered face and red lips. And the person that's in this small urn enacts martial arts vengeance upon this guy who doesn't belong in this place. It makes a little bit more sense if you watch it, which is an amazing, stunning sequence that's just like, what am I watching? And sets a fabulously ridiculous tone for the rest of the film. And basically, to get out, this guy who shouldn't be in this place kidnaps the prince, a young prince, and or kills the boy. And then we flash forward years later where that guy who accidentally killed the boy and fought the person in the urn is sort of like an old crazy person, and he teaches martial arts apparently to a younger guy. And then it's not going to make any more sense if I keep going. It's a really fun movie. I always say about martial arts movies is the storyline is generally secondary. Is there good fu in this film? And there is fantastic fu in this movie. If you don't know, Yuen Woo-ping was part of a sort of this famous family in Hong Kong filmmaking in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, who father was a martial arts master, and he appears, I guess, with Jackie Chan in, I believe it was Drunken Master, but also Snake and Eagle's Shadow as the old master. This guy had a lot of kids, all of which went into martial arts and martial arts filmmaking, and Yuen Woo-ping is known for things like Iron Monkey and being the martial arts choreographer for people here, martial arts choreographer for The Matrix and the Charlie's Angels movies, and for a while he was working in Hollywood a bit. Anyway, if Yuen Woo-ping's name is attached to something, you want to pay attention to it if you like the food, like I like the food, because martial arts in this are fabulous. Now, the deal here is it's very silly. Now, Chinese or specifically Hong Kong comedy, especially in this era, can get incredibly like goofy and immature and crude and just like you can't believe what you're seeing. This movie is filled with that. It leans very heavily into that, but at the same time, it does have supernatural things where somebody is fighting and they do a handstand and they're wearing like a skirt type thing and the skirt falls down over their head and there's another person under the skirt, just like insane, mind-bending, weird. Somebody like takes their head off and throws it and it goes around the room and back on their body. Crazy stuff like that. So it's very funny when there are martial arts. It's not wall-to-wall martial arts, but when there are, it's incredibly well done. And the humor is unlike probably a lot of people watching this have seen. It's really weird and goofy. So super fun movie. This is, for me, this is a keeper. Transfer is gorgeous. I'm loving how good these films that Eureka and companies like them are, how good they're making these Hong Kong movies look, because they never looked this good before. You would get these movies on DVD when they were new to DVD, and they would look way older than they really were because the transfers were just not great, or you had the burned in, poorly translated subtitles. You get the Chinese subtitles, and under that you get the English subtitles, and the English subs were, more often than not, they were being projected against something white in the background, so you could never read them. So to get these things looking beautiful, proper, this is 235 widescreen. This, you have your choice of the original Cantonese mono audio or the English dub mono, and it just looks fabulous. It's a Region A release, so this is really just for America. This release, Eureka is a British company, so sometimes their stuff is only Region A or only Region B for England, or it's Region A and B for both. This is just Region A, so this is only playable here. And one of the things I thought was interesting is the guy who is the man who starts off the story, the guy who accidentally kills the boy. I think of him, and he's done a million things. He's done a million things better than this. But for me, he's always the elderly father of the refugee family in Lethal Weapon 4. So if that means anything to you, this guy's in that movie. As I say, Yuen Woo-ping is in drag throughout the film as an old lady. It's really silly. It's just, there's a moment where the young hero of the film in the modern day sequence, modern day in terms of the story, 1600 something, is fighting somebody, and suddenly it's, all I can say is Dorf on Fu. If you remember Tim Conway and his Dorf character in series, it's essentially that. His head is behind a curtain, it's full size, he's got a tiny body, and he's using his hands for the feet or whatever, but he's fighting a full-size person while he is basically Dorf. If that doesn't sell you the movie, I don't think I can. So extras on this. We have a commentary by Frank Zheng, who does a lot of these commentaries, Hong Kong film expert, tells you everything you want to know about anything in the film. A decent number of stretches of silence in this commentary, so it's not wall-to-wall Frank talking. And once again, he must have recorded a ton of these while he had a cold, or he must have allergies, because I keep hearing him sniff in these commentaries, and I always think, couldn't somebody just snip that out? It's like I could see if it's while he's talking, but it's not. Just snip that. Anyway, so Frank's commentary is good. I think on this release, I actually prefer the second commentary by Mike Leader and Arnie Venema, two Hong Kong film experts who have worked in Hong Kong making movies with a lot of these people and have tons of like off the cuff, sometimes off color, sometimes dishy stories about all these people, and they talk about the characters, and between the two you get a very good overview of the film, the history, the styles, and everybody who had anything to do with it. You get an archival interview with Yuen Woo-ping from 2012, conducted by Frederick Ambrosine, and who has done a ton of interviews with Hong Kong filmmakers and actors that appear throughout multiple releases by a lot of these companies who are doing these right now. That's 21 minutes. It's really good and pretty amusing. There is At the Service of the Great Magician, interview with Assistant Director Fish Fong. That's 17 minutes. That's very interesting. The Shakespeare of Yuen Woo-ping, an interview with John Kreng, 17 minutes. It's all very interesting. Original trailer, which looks fabulous, 4.5 minutes, and a still gallery that's 24 images, like lobby cards and posters and ad materials and stuff like that. The package itself is going to be out of focus, so you can't see it. I just realized. So can you see that? Can you see that? Is that in focus? As if I get out of there, is that in focus? There you go. So you get a slip case, which slips off to reveal, sorry about this, the same thing underneath, front and back. Crack it open. You get a booklet with some writing in it, which I'll tell you about in a second, and the disc. And then what I love when companies do this, you have, it's a clear case, so it's a reversible cover featuring the original poster art on that. So the booklet is really cool. I was just reading this before I recorded this. So you've got stills that are all taken from original press materials or the new transfer, so they look fabulous. And there's an article called We Are Family, the Miracle Fighters and the Yuen Clan. So the people I were talking about, all the sons and brothers and father and all that, this details all of what they did, not in insane detail, but it just kind of goes over the fact that it was this like martial arts dynasty. So booklet there, very good, very cool. If I had my face, maybe it'll be in focus. Cool poster on the back. If not, I apologize for recording this incorrectly. So available now on Blu-ray from Eureka. This is a movie I'd never heard of, and this is so much fun. This is one I want to show to a lot of friends because it's just going to blow people's mind. From 1982, Yuen Woo-ping's The Miracle Fighters.